Masuk klik PDF bawah.
Testing, testing. Okay. Ada echo tak? Okay. Ada quick announcement. Nanti bila VVIP masuk, minta semua orang bangun Boleh Alright. Kemudian kita akan nyanyikan lagu Unimap song. Okay?
Kita buka dulu kan. So kita kena tutup kot laptop dulu kan. Kita taruh depan sikit.
Taruh depan sikit.
Okey. Saya akan ambil lagi.
Cuma kita ada buat perubahan. Ni tag center baru ke?
Ni yang latest.
Dia sekejap.
Cuma sedition lah tak sempat.
Oh.
Tak sempat.
Betul-betul. Okey. Okey kot. Alright. Alright, Assalamualaikum and very good afternoon. VIP dah nak masuk. Boleh bangun please rise. Right. Announcing the arrival of Yang Berbahagia Deputy Vice Chancellor University Malaysia Perlis, Professor IR TS Dr. Rezwan Haji Kamarudin, Madam Lynn Olson, Vice President from Intel, fellow delegates from Intel, Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for official UNIMAP song.
Ilmu keikhlasan kecemerlangan wawasan jiwa kita. Berdikari rohaniah, berteknologi, pemimpin berdikari. Untuk bangsa insan dan umat dunia, negara yang tercinta. Universiti Malaysia Perlis, alam kejuruteraan. Ilmu keikhlasan kecemerlangan wawasan jiwa kita.
Ladies and gentlemen, you may have a seat.
UNIMAP, leading engineering and technology for humanity.
In 2002, the Ministry approved the establishment of College University Kejuruteraan Utara Malaysia, KUKUM, the 17th public university in Malaysia. In 2007, KUKUM was rebranded as UNIMAP. UNIMAP offers programs of study leading to the award of diploma, bachelor's, master's, and PhD degrees. UNIMAP operates in 3 main campuses: Nature Campus Putra, Computer and Communication Engineering, Manufacturing Engineering, Electrical System Engineering, Microelectronic Engineering, Mechatronic Engineering. Unicity Nature Campus, Faculty of Engineering Technology, School of Diploma Studies, City Campus, Materials Engineering, Bioprocess Engineering, Environmental Engineering, Business Innovation and Technopreneurship, Human Development and Techno-Communication. UNIMAP continuously carries out research that brings benefit to all. Nanotechnology research in UNIMAP looks into faster, easier, and more accurate detection of microbiological diseases. The HPV-CC kit has high sensitivity that allows early detection of cervical cancer through saliva. With the application of greenhouse technology, the Sustainable Agro-Technology Institute has developed a method to enable the Perlis harum manis to be harvested all year long. A greenhouse monitoring system has been built to regulate temperature, humidity, and level of carbon dioxide to create an environment conducive for the growth and maturity of the fruits. A bus monitoring system developed by the UNIMAP Center of Excellence for Advanced Sensor Technology facilitate efficient monitoring of the movement of university buses for students. Under UNIMAP's social responsibility programs, an alternative energy source kit known as EPS kit has been developed. Each year, UNIMAP produces alumni whose presence is felt the world over, in many parts of the world.
Even though it's a different industry, different profession, but we still need the soft skill, the leadership skill that we learned, that we were taught in school during our university days. It's a lesson learned. We were taught as we through this life.
Being graduate from UNIMAP, it really helps me in adapting to the working environment, and it helps me speeding up my learning curve. And I think the best thing about UNIMAP is they don't just teach you, they prepare you.
The soft skills, problem-solving analysis, as well as a lot of hands-on practical that we practice, it will help the graduates to be more confident when they graduated later on.
The levers in UNIMAP actually helped me a lot for this business. So here I want to thank UNIMAP for giving me a very good education for me. UNIMAP mantap.
UNIMAP researchers are globally recognized, evident through the acquisition of numerous international grants.
UNIMAP is my first choice because the programs offered here are focused and they fulfill the expectation of the industry.
Apart from academic and research, which are the university core business, sport, culture and volunteerism are also given due to the attention. It's up to the student to choose which field he or she want to immerse into.
The success and achievements thus far have placed UNIMAP on the world stage.
We are proud of our numerous achievements, including being recognized as the world's top 700. Guided by our core values of knowledge, sincerity, and excellence, UNIMAP will become even better and stronger towards a brighter future for all. UNIMAP, mantap!
Right, thank you Team Multimedia for the Multimedia Show. Right, yang berbahagia, Profesor IR TS Dr. Rezwan Haji Kamarudin, Deputy Vice Chancellor University Malaysia Perlis, the Honorable Madam Lynn Olson, Intel Vice President, representative from Intel Microelectronic Malaysia Sdn Bhd, the Honorable Senior Officers, Dean and Head of Departments, lecturers and fellow students. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and very good afternoon. Welcome to the CEO at Faculty Talk Women in Engineering by Madam Lynn Olson. Ladies and gentlemen, Today's event is actually part of the CEO at Faculty program. The main objective of this program is to intensify the participation from the industrial sector as part of the higher education system through the sharing of experience and expertise from industry leaders. Hence, we are very honored today to have Madam Lynn Olson, Intel Vice President in the House, to share with us the experience and expertise and knowledge of the corporate world with the UNIMEP members of staff and fellow students. Welcome, Madam Lynn Olson to University of Malaysia Perlis. And ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, we cordially invite Deputy Vice Chancellor of University of Malaysia Perlis, Professor RTS Dr. Rezwan Haji Kamarudin, for his opening speech. Please welcome, Prof.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Salam sejahtera, salam ilmu keikhlasan kecemerlangan UNIMEP. My respected colleagues, Lynn Olson, Vice President of Intel, yang berbahagia Tuan Muhammad Farid Sulaiman, is one of our UNIMEP board members, representative from Intel Microelectronic Malaysia Siam Berhad, senior officers from UNIMEP, UNIMEP deans, and heads of departments, ladies and gentlemen. Alhamdulillah, by the grace of Allah Almighty, we are able to gather today for this prestigious event, CEO at Faculty Talk. It's not late for me to congratulate Lynn Olson. It's our new appointed CEO of Faculty by Ministry. I would like to congratulate you. Shall we give a big applause to her? We do hope we can learn a lot from her based on her vast experience in the corporate ecosystem. I'm honored to welcome and host all the distinguished CEOs who are present for our program here today. I'm also humbled by your overwhelming support for the AI Exchange CEO at Faculty Program 1.0, Learn from the Pros. Ladies and gentlemen, CEO at Faculty Program, Learn from Pros is an initiative by Ministry of Higher Education in line with the Malaysia Education Blueprint 2015 to 2025. The main objective of this program is to intensify the participation from the industrial sector through the sharing of the experience and expertise from the selected CEO at universities. Learn from the pros can provide students with opportunities to engage with selected CEOs with the aim of improving graduate employability by enhancing student learning experiences and reducing the mismatch in the supply and demand from knowledge shared by the CEOs. Thus, I hope that the CEOs can share their experience and knowledge of the corporate world with our UNIMEPs and members, and especially to our students. I truly hope that you can engage with our students in order to enhance their graduate employability and personal development in a more holistic manner. For your information, every year we are secured between 80 to 90% upon convocation our graduate employability. So I hope with your presence here, you can further improve So they are become one of the top among the UA. Currently, we are among top 3 public university in terms of GE. Previously, we have Mr. Badrul Faizal from UMW Group, Anna Maria from B. Brown, and Datuk Sri Jamil from KPDK&K. Previously, Ministry has appointed 3 COs for the first batch. You are now coming for the second batch. We are welcome. This year, we are pleased to announce to the UNIMAP community the appointment of eminent industry CEOs for the CEO at faculty program. Mr. Tan Soon Keong, Director of Technology, Infineon Technology Kulim, and Mr. Munawir Abdul Ghani, Vice President of Human Resources, Sekretariat Malaysia, Sdn Bhd. And Madam Lynn Olson, Vice President and Director of Programmable Solution Engineering Penang, Intel, Microelectronic Malaysia, Sdn Bhd. Finally, I am certain that this program will enhance and generate interesting and innovative ideas, as well as provide excellent opportunities for the knowledge sharing towards enhancing the quality of life to meet future challenges. Before I end my speech, I would also like to take this opportunity to thank the organizing team for their tireless commitment and involvement in ensuring the success of this program. With that note, on behalf of UNIMAP, my sincere thanks to our distinguished guests for being with us here. Have a fruitful deliberation and a pleasant stay in place. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Yang Berbahagia Deputy Vice Chancellor. Ladies and gentlemen, before we start the presentations by Madam Lynn Olson, I would like to invite Associate Professor Dr. Azrami Abdullah Al-Hadi, Dean of School of Computer and Communications Engineering, to share with us background details about our honorable guest today. Please welcome, Doctor.
Okay, Assalamualaikum and very good afternoon. Honorable guests, ladies and gentlemen, allow me to introduce Madam Lynn Olson. She's currently the Vice President, Intel Programmable Solution Engineering Penang, PSEP. Also hold position as the Intel Programmable Solution Group Penang, PSGP Site Manager. Prior to joining PSGP, Lynn was the General Manager of Intel Custom Foundry North America Foundry Program Office. To highlight a few other roles in her amazing career, Lynn Olson has been the Acting Director of Data Center Execution Team, responsible for managing the integration and execution of technologies in server platforms. Additionally, Lynn was previously the General Manager of LTD Design Group, responsible for bringing 6 TIC CPUs, 1 microcontroller, and 4 EEPROMs into production. She has experience in leading both front-end and back-end design teams, including teams of up to 450 employees across multiple GOs. Lynn received her bachelor degree in electrical engineering from San Jose State University. She is currently serving as an advisor of SJSU EE Department Advisory Council. She is an active Intel mentor, and in her free time, she enjoys travel, hiking, and construction. Very nice hobby as well. Okay. Okay. So we welcome you, Madam Lynn, and the floor is yours. Welcome.
Yeah, go all the way to the start. There we go. Okay, and which, this is pointer, and then this is forward, this is backwards. Okay, got it. Thanks. I can go ahead. How do we get on the screen? There we go. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you very much for attending today. I was asked to come to speak about leadership traits and tips. So that's basically what I'll talk about, and then we'll have a Q&A session, so you'll be able to ask me any questions that you have. So for today, basically what I'd like to talk about is my career journey, so you know a little bit about me and what made me be me. And then I'll talk about what I believe are the important leadership traits, and then some tips on leadership trait of communicating. So I picked one out of the list of leadership traits that I believe are important. I picked one to go into a little bit more depth about that one, why I believe it's important, and how you can demonstrate it. So that is what I'll be talking about today. So to start off, this is my career journey. I started at Intel Corporation in 1978, and so for those of you doing the math, that is 41 years ago, almost 42. It'll be 42 in February. I always joke and I say I was 5 years old when I started at Intel, so that you don't think I'm old, but I am. When I started at Intel, I basically call it luck. I lucked into it. I was going to school, university, the San Jose State. I was going to become a teacher. I have a passion for working with people, for teaching, and I have just a very strong interest in math and science. I was putting myself through school, and my sister actually mentioned that Intel had openings, and that I, should consider it as a way to earn more money from the job that I was currently working at. So I started working at Intel in a non-exempt position. The position was called a digitizer, and you can see what they look like. That's not actually me, but it does actually look a lot like me, and the role was very much like that. The role doesn't exist today. In the old days, we used to draw our circuits. Engineers would draw the circuits on a napkin or a piece of paper. They would draw the schematic, and then a mass designer would translate that into a layout that they would draw on a piece of large graph paper, very large graph paper. And a digitizer, the person in the picture, we would paste that graph paper up on what is a light table. You can see the light table, the white behind the lady. And there was a big mechanical arm. And basically, you were transposing what was on the graph paper into the computer. You can see the computer terminal that was right next to her. So that was my job, and that was my entry into the field. And by sitting there doing this at night while I went to school during the day, I basically met a lot of wonderful engineers who basically taught me about the benefit of entering into the engineering field. And so I went to school, and I spoke to the dean of engineering, and I transferred into engineering at school versus in the School of Math and Science that I was currently in. So I basically transferred into engineering, and in 1982, I graduated from San Jose State, and I got my first engineering job as a circuit designer inside of Intel. So I just transferred from the job I was in to the new job, and I got to design circuits. So now I was the person writing on the piece of paper my schematics, and thus having mass designers work for me to translate it into chips. I was very lucky. I truly believe it takes two things to have a good career. One is you got to have the skill and the knowledge and be one of the best that you can be in your job. The second is you have to have luck. There has to be opportunities out there for you to apply that knowledge that you have. And when I entered into engineering, I happened to be lucky because I happened to come at a time where the previous engineer of a product had left on short notice, and they needed somebody to take over the role. Now, this is not something you normally give to a recent college graduate, but since I had worked at Intel, since I pretty much knew my way around, knew how to get things done inside of Intel, I was blessed with getting my own chip from the very start. And so I ramped very, very quickly. Having that opportunity gave me the opportunity to learn fast. So one thing I always have to say, and Intel's really big on it these days, is be fearless. Take on those opportunities that are way more than you can handle at the moment, because that's where you're going to truly learn, and you're going to learn at a very, very fast pace. And that's what I did. I learned at a very quick rate. And basically, I worked my way from 1982 to 1999. I worked my way up the management to becoming a GM of the organization that I was working in. I stayed in the same organization. And I became the general manager for that organization. And we were responsible for producing basically what Intel calls the TIC microprocessors, the TIC CPUs. So I was developing the CPUs that were going into desktop computers, mobile computers, server computers, and it was absolutely an amazing job and an amazing group of people to work with. In 1999, they decided that they were going to basically move the job that I had. They were going to move it out of the organization and move it out into the business units. And so I was out of a job, essentially. I was still in Intel, and I was employed by Intel, but I no longer had the job that I had been doing up until then. And I needed to find a new role inside of Intel. So once again, being fearless, once again, believing in myself and what I could do, I basically took on a new opportunity in platforms, developing platforms for Intel in the server organization, where again, I got to learn a lot of new things. I at that time got to learn, in addition to CPUs, I was learning about BIOS, about boards, about packaging, about the memory ecosystem, about system development. And so it was a great opportunity to once again learn at a very, very fast pace, which I very much enjoyed. And then in 2014, I was tapped on my shoulder to become basically the general manager of the program management office for Intel Custom Foundry. It was a new organization inside of Intel, and they wanted someone with my background in order to help customers design, external companies be able to design their products on Intel process. And so I went and did that until 2017, where basically, unfortunately, Intel Custom Foundry, we were not growing at the pace that we thought and had hoped that we would. I went into, basically moved and decided to go into the Programmable Solutions Group, which is FPGAs, developing FPGAs inside of Intel. And I came to Penang, a very great opportunity to get to live in this wonderful country. I've been here for 2 years now, and experience basically what it's like to live in a different part of the world, and also in a location that's very diverse and incredibly welcoming. So I've considered this a phenomenal opportunity, and I'm loving every minute of it, and I'm getting, once again, to learn new things. So Don't ever stop learning. I haven't, and I don't plan on stopping until maybe after I retire someday. But I got a feeling even then I'll be looking for new ways to learn and apply that learning. So that is my personal career journey. It wasn't the career journey I expected when I entered into the field, but being open and always learning, I basically adapted my career journey based on what I believed is the right thing for me, but based on the opportunities that were made available to me. So the question that was asked is, what do I believe are the important leadership traits besides being fearless? The ones that I believe that are important are basically vision. A good leader needs to be able to have a vision. And a vision is, where do they believe that they want to take their organization, their company, their group to? So you can't, if you always stay complacent with where you are, the company will not grow. You will not grow. So you always have to set a target that is, you know, a year, couple of years down the road. And you have to have a vision for what that is. So that is the first thing in order to, again, grow a company or build a business. Have that vision. Second thing that you need to do is basically inspire. Most of the things that you'll want to accomplish in your career, in your business, will require additional people to work on it besides yourself. And you cannot get people to basically reach out and give their passion and their soul and their hearts for that vision unless you can inspire them, unless you can convince them that what you're trying to achieve is doable and is better than where they're at today. So you have to have the ability to inspire, inspiration. The third important trait that I believe is you have to be an effective communicator. You need to be able to communicate basically where you want to go, how you believe you're going to get there, and what are the changes and adaptations you need to make along the way. Okay, so communication. Fourth is you need to be a good listener, because not everything will go the way you planned it to go. There will be changes. So you need to be able to listen to the people that work for you, listen to your customers, listen to the employees, and adapt based on what you're hearing. Last but not least is confidence. You have to always have the confidence that what you're trying to do is achievable, that you'll be able to reach that goal, because there will be what we say in the U.S. is naysayers, people who will not agree with you, who will not believe that you're going to be capable of getting to where you want to get to. And so you have to have the confidence to sustain and continue on that track of where you want to go. So again, these are all of the traits that I believe are important for a leader. And I believe that everyone needs to show these leadership traits from the start of your career to the end of your career. You will progress in your career faster by showing that you have these leadership traits versus being what I would call a follower, somebody who just follows along and does what you're told to do. Instead, we're looking for people who have a voice, a person who could lead and speaks out. So I'm going to speak on one of these 5 traits. The one I'm going to speak to is the effective communicator, because I believe it's truly one of the most important traits, and one that I think that you guys can apply immediately upon graduating. Okay, so what's the power of being a good communicator? Why do I believe it's one of the most important traits out of the 5 I listed? So why I believe it's important to be a good communicator is you are soon about to graduate or have graduated from college, and you will be out interviewing, and employers will be hiring you. And they're going to be hiring you based on the knowledge that you have. And they want to hear that knowledge. They, again, don't want you to come in and just do what you're told to do. They want to hear your opinions. You went to school to learn, and you've learned knowledge that, for some of us who have not been in school for a long time, may not know. So communicate what you know, because the employers are paying you for your knowledge. Let's see. Another reason why it's important to communicate is diversity. I truly believe that we can make better decisions, we can make better products, if we listen to diverse opinions and we talk about that. If we start with one person's opinion, usually the leader's opinion, that's one opinion. But if he's surrounded by a great team, which I happen to have, I'm very blessed, I happen to have a great team, they will talk to me about what it is, how they can take that idea that I may have and make it better, or that decision that I'm currently, leaning towards, how I could improve that decision, or why I should think of things in a different way. They're bold enough to speak up and speak about their diverse opinions, and as a result of that, we build on each other's ideas and thoughts to come up with better decisions, better products. There we go. Another reason is visibility. If you are speaking out and speaking about your opinion, you are becoming more visible. You're becoming more visible to your employer, you're becoming more visible to your peers, and the value that you bring is becoming more visible. And it's a result of showing that value that you have, that knowledge that you have, that you will get better opportunities and thus, promotion raises, better jobs from it. So for the sake of having visibility and showing what you can do, speak up and communicate. Okay, the first time I showed this, I realized that this is something that we say in the U.S. that may not be a very common saying here. In the U.S., we say that the squeaky wheel gets the grease. So what does that mean? It basically means that, if you have a car and you're driving it down the road and you hear a squeak to it, basically, you, your husband, your mechanic, whoever works on the car, the thing that you will address is that one wheel. You will go give it grease. Likewise, if you speak up and you speak what your opinion is, you become the squeaky wheel, and you will get the attention of your leaders, of your peers, and thus get visibility, thus get better opportunities by mentioning basically what you want to do. I might be in a great job today, but I'm constantly telling my manager, what do I want to do next? And I become that squeaky wheel who's saying that, I want this next opportunity, I want this next job. This is what I aspire to do next. Okay? Always looking forward, always having a vision to go forward. Communication is an absolute must-have trait for a manager. If you cannot communicate effectively to your employees, to your boss, you will have a very difficult time leading a group. A manager has to be able to tell their employees what needs to get done, how it needs to get done, what done means. What is their definition of complete? They also need to be able to communicate that information, the results, up to management, and clearly also communicate what decisions need to be made or what direction should be taken. So communication is a required skill in management. There's just no way you could do management without the ability to communicate both up to senior management or down to the employees that work for you. So next I'll talk about how. How do you become a good communicator? I talked about why it's important to be a good communicator. Now I'll talk about, how can you become a good communicator? So starting off first, inside of Intel, we call these one-on-ones. Basically, it's a meeting with one other individual. So me with someone else. And usually that one-on-one is with your manager. Through that meeting with your manager, and we hold them inside of Intel once a week or once every other week, I'm able to tell my manager what I'm doing, what are the issues that I'm overcoming, and what help, if any, that I need. It gives him visibility into the work that I'm doing, the challenges I faced and overcame in order to keep the project on schedule. So one-on-ones is one way of communicating. Another way of communicating is what I call proactive updates. You can walk inside of Intel anyways, we have what we call an open door policy, meaning any employee is allowed to walk into any other employee or manager's office at any time. And personally, I love it when my employees walk in and tell me what's going on. I call these proactive updates because it's on-the-spot knowledge of what is happening, what are the problems, what are the issues. And by them walking in and feeling comfortable enough to walk in and talk to me, I'm getting real-time information that my manager may happen to ask me about in the next meeting I've attended. And instead of saying, I don't know, I happen to know because I had employees that were willing to come in and talk to me and give me these updates. Another way of communicating is speaking up in meetings, okay? Don't be a wallflower, what I call a wallflower, somebody who doesn't talk in meetings. In meetings, it's important that you tell what your opinion is, okay? But just as important as it is that you speak up because your manager wants to hear your inputs, your thoughts, your opinions, it's also important that you don't basically, consume too much of the meeting, that you're not allowing your peers and other people to also contribute. Next, presentations and conferences. It's a great way to tell the world basically what you're capable of, what you've worked on, and the achievements that you have. So anytime that you get an opportunity to give a presentation or to go to a conference to give a presentation, it's a great way to get recognition both inside of your company as well as outside of your company. So take those opportunities. Next is what I call power of the pen. Power of the pen is basically the person who writes what I call the minutes. In every meeting that we hold at Intel, we have somebody who writes the minutes of that meeting. And the person who writes those minutes is the person I consider who has the power of the pen. That power of the pen is the ability to capture what the decisions that were made in that meeting. And it's their interpretation of it. So it actually holds a lot of power, and it gets a lot of visibility, and it will get referred to over and over again. Because a lot of times people will say, well, what decision was made? And we'll say, hey, let's go back, look at the minutes, and see. And this person will always be recognized because their name's on it for having written the minutes and the decisions that were made. And they'll be the person that they refer to and go back to ask if they need any clarifying questions. So power of the pen. So last but not least, don't be afraid to shine. Basically, communicating is your ability to shine. It's your ability to stand out from the crowd. And you want to take every opportunity you can get to stand out from the crowd, stand out from your peers, to show your boss, to show others what you're capable of doing. Okay. So that basically is my presentation materials. What I would like to do before we go into the Q&A portion is I'd like to, as CEO at faculty, I've brought some of my team here today who have graciously agreed to work with me on the CEO of faculty, and they are delegates for the IAP and the industrial supervisors. So I'd like them to come up to the stage. And I'll give you a brief introduction to each one of them, and then also to a few of the individuals who could not make it today but are nonetheless willing to collaborate with this school to basically make changes. So first is Velu. He's a principal engineer. He works in Texas, in the U.S. He is an industrial supervisor, a designate to be an industrial supervisor in order to basically help and mentor some individuals on research programs that they're working on. He's a validation architect since 2016. He's one of the key drivers and chair of the technical leadership program to grow and mentor and sustain the technical leadership inside of Intel, which is why he'll be great in this position here at UNIMAP. Prior to working at Intel, he worked at Texas Instruments, so he has multiple, besides Intel, he's also worked at other companies that he can apply his knowledge in and helping basically in some of the programs. So that's Velu. Moving on, we got Musoon right there. So Musoon is an IAP designate, and he has 22 years of experience working on platform solution design, FPGA RTL, and embedded and firmware development. He works in my organization and is currently working on our board development and has brought a lot of significant innovation into our board development and a lot of cost reductions that I'm incredibly appreciative of him being a part of my group. So he is here. He is also an industry advisory panel member for UCSI University. So I think he'll be a great addition. Next, we have Tat Hin. His expertise is in signal power integrity and test tooling hardware and platforms, an expertise in electromagnetic modeling and TDR and RF characterization. He's worked as an analog circuit designer and a microarchitect. He's designed state machines for advanced low-power digital DLLs. He did the DDR2 and 3 interface microarchitecture for the Intel chipset and SoCs, and he's got a long list also working on HBM2. So very, very long stream of accomplishments. Next, we have Lynn. He's a designate for industrial supervisor. His expertise is FPGA configuration and security, partial reconfiguration, fuse, SDM. He's got a long list there. He has done the configuration and power on, and he's been the expert for us for 6 generations of FPGAs. He's got an in-depth knowledge of the FPGA architecture and firmware validation. He defined and validated hardware or software DFX for the product testability and debug access. And lots of other important contributions that he is making to Altera and to Intel now. Intel purchased Altera. So thank you, Lynn. Then we have KB. He's an IAP designate. He's got 27 years of semiconductor manufacturer's environment. He's semiconductor assembly manufacturing, hermetic packages, PGA package, and flip chip package assembly line. Since 2000, he's been focusing on assembly manufacturing experts and the OSAT model. So that OSAT model is for those people that do assembly and test outside of Intel as a business. Customer issues, new package design, assembly, and process technology. He's currently focusing on ROHANIAH 6 to be EU lead-free compliant for European community. So thank you very much, KB. Next we have CK, Industrial Supervisor Designate. He's got 23 years in Intel, specializing in high-speed, low-power CPU design. He's recently focused on soft CPU overlay architecture and enabling ease of use of FPGA and making FPGAs the accelerator of choice. So he's basically developing the way that external software users of an FPGA will be able to load on multiple multi-core CPUs onto an FPGA in a very easy way of doing it. His area of interest including but not limited to smart city embedded systems and the CPU architecture and FPGA architecture. So thank you very much, CK. And that's our group, I think, right? We're not missing anyone. Okay, excellent. Thank you. So that's the group of individuals. And next we enter into what would be the Q&A session. So I'm a very open person, but I'm not going to watch myself. So I'm open to any types of questions that you might have, so feel free to. Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. So let me take the one up there, and then I'll take, if you don't mind coming down.
Hello.
Hi.
Yeah, wonderful speech given by you, ma'am. Thank you
Thank
very much for coming here today, and thank you, UNIMAP, as well, for giving me the chance to join this program. So about like what you said just now, like we have to speak up and we have to be an effective communicator in giving our ideas, right?
Yes.
So I've done my diploma and now I'm continuing my degree. In the past experience, when I've done my diploma, I went for my internship. So I'm not going to mention the company where I work.
Okay.
From what I see, that speaking up has like given me a bad experience there. Because in some companies where I've joined, for instance, some engineers told me that if you have an idea, if you're smart at something, don't show it. Because once you do it, everyone's job will become your job. What you're not supposed to do, you will have to do. And yeah, that is what I faced before. And another thing is that sometimes I have an idea. So I approached my engineer and gave him the idea. So let's say, why don't we can do it this way?
Yeah.
And instead of discussing with other people, he took that idea and he used that idea and he did something for himself which benefited him and him only. And in the end, I ended up doing what I was supposed to do. And that idea, he got it, he went somewhere else.
Yeah.
So what is your opinion about this? Like, should we, in this kind of situation, what am I supposed to do? Am I like supposed to just do what I'm supposed to do, continue my job, or am I supposed to resign and leave the job?
Yeah. It sounds like you've unfortunately had a bad experience.
Yes.
I would disagree on your first point. Speaking up, basically, if you speak up and you tell someone how to do something better, you'll end up getting more work. I personally believe that that's a good thing. I truly do. It gives you better opportunities, and you will excel in your career faster than someone who doesn't speak up, even if it does mean more work. Okay. That always look at that as more opportunity. Okay. So and then on the second point, which is you had a great idea, you shared it, and you unfortunately shared it to a person who was what I consider to be dishonorable. They took your idea, didn't give the credit to you. That will happen. Life is like that. There's good people and there's bad people, right? It's an unfortunate part of the world. I would not let one bad experience taint you. I would continue to do what you're doing, and more times than not, you will generally get the credit for it. There are more good people, thank God, in this world that are good than there are this dishonorable bad ones. One learning that you might take away from it is when you share an idea, document it in an email to the person. I shared this idea with you today. I just wanted to document what I shared with you, what value I think it will bring, and if you have any further questions, please feel free. That allows you always to have that reference to go back to if, this dishonorable thing happens and somebody gets the opportunity that you were deserving of.
Yes. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Did you have a question? Yeah.
It's a kind of more serious question, I think.
Okay.
So I think if anyone alert about our Prime Minister, Malaysia Prime Minister has announced about the SPV 2030. Yeah, so actually the aim is to boosting Malaysia economy as well to promote the, we call it integrate harmonious relations. Okay, so my question is, so in this context, what roles has been played by Intel or plan to do to assist Malaysian government and the communities to achieve quality, decent life as supported by the SDG, the strategic development goals. So what is the plan by Intel then?
Yeah. So today, I'm not the best person to be able to speak to that topic. So what I can do is connect you with our public relations group inside of Intel and have them be able to answer that question. They'll have much more knowledge than I would as an engineering manager inside of Intel. Yes. Whoop. Okay. You're very loud, huh? Good. what kind of disruptive technologies is Intel bringing about for the Industrial 4.0? So Intel is developing many new products that basically enable the Industrial 4.0 is a lot about automation and automating the assembly lines, the industry, and a lot of that is run off of Intel products, and we're constantly announcing new products to be able to make automation, be able to make artificial intelligence, basically bring value to the assembly lines. Yes.
Thank you, Madam Lynn Olson and UNIMEP for the opportunity for me to attend this talk. My question would be, earlier before you mentioned that one of the 5 leadership traits is being a good communicator and having confidence. But as we can see that being a communicator, you also need to have good confidence. So my question would be, how exactly do you build that confidence when you don't have it?
Yeah. So I'm an introvert. So and I think of as an introvert, I don't have the confidence to basically speak up and to individuals. And so what I did, what a trick for me when I first started at Intel, when I became a circuit designer, is I would attend meetings and I'd have, ideas or an opinion or maybe the answer to a question, and I didn't have the confidence to be able to speak up. I had developed a very close partnership with, at the time, Intel used to have 2 people in an office at a time. So I developed a close partnership with a person I shared an office with who had been at Intel for many more years than me. And so what I would do is I'd sit next to him in the meeting. I'd tell him what my idea was, what I thought the answer was, and then he'd say it. And I saw that my ideas were being accepted, were being valued, and it gave me the confidence to learn to speak up for myself. So that was a trick that I used to grow my confidence in my own abilities. So, you have to take basically the surroundings that you're in and find something that would help you build that confidence. And usually it's people accepting your ideas. So find a way to be able to voice your ideas, see that they're accepted, and that will build your confidence.
So it's like if you can't voice your own ideas, you find another person to convey it.
Exactly. At least for me, that's what worked.
Okay, I actually have a second question. You also mentioned that in order to excel in your workplace, you'll need to have skill and knowledge, and the second one is luck. And my next question would be, how far does luck influence that, or more accurately, what is the more influencing between the two, skill and knowledge or luck?
Good. I think it's skill and knowledge. Okay, skill and knowledge will make you be ready for when the opportunity comes. Luck is in the opportunity coming. But if you're not ready, even if that opportunity comes, they're not going to pick you, they're going to pick somebody else, right? So skill and knowledge is always the most important out of the two. Okay?
Okay, I have one last question.
Sure.
So when I first heard about the talk, the title would be Women in Engineering.
Mm-hmm.
So when I came to the talk and found out that it suddenly changed into leadership, I was a bit shocked because I came with a question that is related to women in engineering.
Okay.
So my last question would be directed to Madam Olson yourself. So you've been working in Intel for a solid 40 years.
Yes.
My question would be, on behalf of the women students as well, how is your experience working 40 years in a field where the majority gender is male?
So, yeah. It has been a majority male, and I have to say that, you know, when I first started in the field 40 years ago, it was substantially more, a larger percentage male than it is today. So it is definitely, we're getting better to balancing the scales. We're definitely not there yet. I would say that it's got its, like everything, it's got its pros and its cons. So from a positive side, when I first started in engineering, I actually was the only female at the time in the organization that I was in. I was the only female engineer. And I have to say, when you're the only female engineer, there's a lot of guys who are willing to help you out if you get stuck, right? It's an absolute pro, right? There's no doubt about it. On the con side, it's more on things that are really not that important. When I walk up, you know, when you first enter into a meeting or when a meeting ends, there's a lot of what you would call social time. It's where you network, you get to know each other. And guys like to talk about sports, which is just not my thing, right? So women tend to have different interests than male. So from the networking side, it's hard. It's a little bit hard. So that's hard. But guys have always made, you know, being the you know, minority not difficult at all. And they've been really gracious about trying to change topics to having something that I could have joined them in the conversation. So it's been a good, I would say it's on the good side. It's more on the good side than it is the bad side.
That's all. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Right. Any question from members on the floor? Because we're running out of time. Thank you. Any question? All right.
Okay. Thank you very much. Really appreciate it.
All right. Thank you very much, Madam Lynn Olson, for sharing your journey with us. Ladies and gentlemen, we have come to the end of our ceremony. As full of appreciations to our invited guests for sharing experiences and spending time with us, I would like to invite Deputy Vice Chancellor, Professor RTS Dr. Rezwan Haji Kamarudin, accompanied by Associate Professor Dr. Azrami Abdullah Al-Hadi, Dean of School of Computer and Communication Engineering, to give the token of appreciations to our honorable guest today. Please welcome Madam Lynn Olson. Right, thank you, Madam Lynn Olson. Thank you, Prof. Dr. I.R. Rezwan Haji Kamarudin, and thank you, Associate Professor Tazrami. As for closing ceremony, now let us rise once again to sing Semangat UNIMAP.
Universiti, visi berintegriti, dinamik bangsa kita semua membina jiwa minda, sama semangat untuk negara. Visi universiti, visi berintegriti, dinamik bangsa berinteraksi. Visi kita semua membina jiwa minda, sama semangat untuk negara. Visi cemerlang, gemilang, gemilang. Visi cemerlang, gemilang, gemilang. Visi universiti, visi berintegriti, dinamik bangsa berinteraksi. Visi kita semua membina jiwa minda, sama semangat untuk negara. Visi universiti, visi berintegriti, dinamik bangsa berinteraksi. Visi kita semua membina jiwa minda, sama semangat untuk negara. Visi cemerlang, gemilang, gemilang. Visi cemerlang, gemilang, gemilang. Unimed.
Right, thank you very much. But before that, we have a group photo session. May I close the light for a while? Switch off the light. Bukan. Switch off the projector.